Hey guys, I've been diving more and more into the crypto space. Some people think there will only be one winning blockchain, while others think there will be multiple that play nicely together. Since I want to invest in this space, I've been wondering which of these groups is right. Should I look for the single winner and put all of my money in that one, or will there be multiple that I should split my investment across? I think I've reached a conclusion, and today that's what I want to share with you. Welcome back to Firestarter Investing, where I strive to understand what I'm investing in and help you understand your investments and make informed decisions. To start off with, we need to determine what leads to winner-take-all competitions. From what I've learned, platform competitions tend to result in winner-take-all when network effects are strong, multi-homing costs are high. Multi-homing basically means being on multiple platforms at once. For example, for riders, it's basically free to multi-home on both Uber and Lyft. You can check both platforms for the current price at no extra cost. For developers, it can be relatively expensive to multi-home on different platforms. For example, your costs increase significantly to develop both an Android and iOS app versus just an app for one platform. Third, a limited demand for hard-to-imitate features. If this last case is true, then most new features are easy to imitate, and new features can be easily incorporated into existing platforms. And finally, high friction or unnecessary cost to having multiple platforms. There are two types of network effects: same-side network effects and cross-site network effects. In same-side network effects, users benefit as more users on the same site are added. Think of users on Facebook. You get more value out of Facebook as more of your friends use it. For cross-site network effects, users on one side benefit as users on the other side are added. This is the case with pretty much any platform. More apps on a platform means more users, and more users attracts more developers to make more apps on the platform. For smart contract plays, it's clear that there are both same-side and cross-site network effects. DeFi works better with more participating users, and more dApps on a network attracts more users, which in turn attracts more developers to develop apps for that network. Let's talk about multi-homing costs. For developers, as I hinted to earlier, there are high costs to developing on additional platforms. So if each smart contract blockchain has its own language and virtual machine, then the multi-homing costs would be high. However, most of the newer smart contract plays are supporting or plan to support the Ethereum virtual machine, or EVM for short. If every smart contract blockchain supports the EVM, then developers only have to write code once and deploy everywhere, drastically decreasing the multi-homing costs. Long term, I expect the main multi-homing cost to be the cost of maintaining a dApp across multiple chains and having to buy the necessary token for each chain. For users, multi-homing costs are relatively low. The main cost is just having to buy a different token for each chain. However, once a user is plugged into a network and has assets, like NFTs on it, switching costs would be high if they couldn't move their assets elsewhere. Cross-chain bridges are effectively removing this limitation and will make switching costs negligible. I think that if all smart contract blockchains supported the EVM or some common crypto virtual machine, and cross-chain bridges are successful, multi-homing costs will be negligible for both developers and users. The third component was little demand for hard-to-imitate features. The blockchain trilemma states that a blockchain can only support 2 out of the 3 options: speed, security, and decentralization. Speed and scalability are synonymous. Assuming that trilemma is true and not solvable, that means blockchains will have to give up one of the 3. In my mind, that makes one feature hard to imitate for each blockchain. In other words, if one network chooses speed and security, then decentralization is a hard to imitate feature for that specific blockchain. I do expect the users will decide what is important to them for their specific use case. In some use cases, speed and decentralization will be most important, while in others, security and decentralization will be most important. If that is the case, then there may be a best or dominant network for each side of the trilemma triangle, but there wouldn't be one to rule them all. Smart contract blockchains have other features and capabilities that are only possible because of their architecture, and there may be other features that come out in the future that affect the end result. If the blockchain trilemma is solvable, as the Algorand team claims, then that reduces the need for different chains, since a single chain could provide all of the attributes a user would want. Layer 2 solutions don't count here, as it's a common belief that you're giving up a little bit of security for the increased scalability of a Layer 2 solution. Finally, is there enough friction or unnecessary cost to discourage having multiple networks? I think yes. There is some overhead just from having separate networks, and also spreading assets over multiple networks can lead to being spread too thin, and in the extreme case, not being able to do anything on any network. To summarize, blockchains have strong network effects, though those will be weaker due to cross-chain bridges. Multi-homing costs are low, and they'll keep getting lower due to EVM support and cross-chain bridges. There is strong demand for difficult-to-imitate capabilities. I believe the blockchain trilemma will continue to exist in some form, meaning that there will be demand for the different attribute combinations. There are redundant costs and deadweight loss from having multiple networks. My conclusion is that the smart contract crypto space will not be winner-take-all. Even though I don't think the space will have a single winner, I don't expect us to end up with hundreds of smart contract blockchains. My thesis is that we'll end up in an oligopoly-style situation where we have 3 to 6 major smart contract blockchains, and users and developers switch between them for specific use cases. If all of the chains are sufficient, then users may just go with the cheapest one or personal preference. That's what I mean by virtual single platform. In a virtual single platform, users treat the networks as a single stitched-together platform, just like how users treat Uber and Lyft together today. The metaverse probably rides on smart contract chains being treated as a virtual single platform. I can't say for sure which smart contract chains will be part of the final oligopoly. My guess is that at least a subset of Ethereum, Cardano, Algorand, Polkadot, Solana, and Avalanche will be in the set. And before I forget, all of my analysis so far has been specifically for smart contract blockchains. It doesn't apply to what I'll call currency plays for now. That is, a blockchain specifically designed to act as money, whose 3 functions are as a medium of exchange, store of value, and unit of accounts. See my previous video on Bitcoin for more information. I'll provide the link in the top right corner and in the description below. I actually think currency plays will be more of a winner-take-all result, though we'll end up with 1 to 3. I can see there being more than one just because right now, Bitcoin acts as a store of value and isn't a great medium of exchange. Your local coffee shop can't trust your transaction for 30 to 60 minutes if you're using the base layer. The Lightning Network may fix that, but if Bitcoin doesn't succeed in being a medium of exchange, then we may have more than one currency play winner. Who knows? Maybe Elon was right, and people will use Dogecoin for regular transactions. In terms of the 4 points I brought out earlier, there are strong network effects for money. The more people that use one currency, the more valuable it is to everyone. That also plays to the 4th point. If there are multiple networks, there's some deadweight loss because of the switching costs and inability to transact with people outside the network. Multi-homing costs are low. The only real cost to different networks is the cost of purchasing each individual coin and keeping a balance on that blockchain. Finally, there's limited demand for hard-to-imitate features. Some users may prefer speed, security, or decentralization, but outside of the blockchain trilemma, there are very few features of digital money that I expect users will demand. The trilemma may lead to having 3 final networks, but I don't see additional features that would result in more chains. What do you guys think? Were you expecting certain chains to be the only winner? Do you disagree with my conclusion? Let me know in the comments down below. Stay tuned for more in-depth analyses. Until next time.